before we start our presentation, let me introduce first our group members' name. So my name is Afika Nomarah, and we have Sharifah Kristina, Nurfatina Suha, and Muhammad Sarif. We are all from IHS245. So now we will present to all of you about our topic that we choose for IHS245 subject, which is occupational hazards and safety awareness among furniture workers. So for all our information that we get is based on our finding reports, which is from a journal article on furniture industries in Yanagawa Bayelsa State in Nigeria. So for the background, there are several sectors characterized by high levels of occupational risk, like construction, manufacturing, forestry, and woodworking. Many of their workers in this sector are exposed to various risks, including loud noise, chemical exposure, and injuries from machines and sharp tools. Many of their workers do not use personal protective equipment properly and often believe that injuries are a normal part of their job. This attitude increases the likelihood of workplace accidents. Therefore, furniture industry needs a better safety training and more frequent workplace inspection. So for the process, there consists of several main steps. It begins with cutting the wood into the required size. So workers usually use machines like saw and planer during this stage. After cutting, the wood pieces go through the shaping process where workers refine the materials to achieve the desired design. The next stage is assembling the parts, which involve tools and machines like drill to connect and secure each component. Once the structure is complete, the product moves to the finishing stage where sanding is done to smooth the surface, and this process produces a significant amount of wood dust. During finishing, workers also apply paints, varnishes or coatings that release chemical fumes. Throughout all these steps, workers are exposed to several hazards. The machines used in cutting, shaping and assembling generate a high noise level. So if we combine all the process with working long hours, this task can lead them to fatigue and body pain, which is musculoskeletal pain. Because of all these risks, it is important for all the workers to follow safe handling practice and use proper PPE such as mask, gloves, hearing protection, and Google to ensure their safety throughout all the entire process. So for the next part, I will continue to explain the common hazards that usually workers may be exposed in this furniture industry. For the first one is physical hazards. Physical hazards are the most common and serious risks in this furniture industry. They happen when workers are exposed to noise, vibration, heat, and moving or falling objects during the tasks like cutting, sanding, drilling, and assembling parts. In addition, the use of machines, sharp tools, and power equipment makes the workplace more dangerous, especially when workers do not have a proper training or do not follow all the safety rules. Moreover, small and poorly ventilated workshops can absorb the dust, noise, and heat, which makes the work uncomfortable and unsafe. So as a result, when we combine all the hazards with long working hours, it can make workers tired and careless, increasing the chance of the accidents.
Next is chemical hazard. Furniture workers are often exposed to chemicals such as spray paint, varnish, cleaner, industrial glue, and sulfur fumes. Continuous exposure can cause skin irritation, dizziness, difficult breathing, chemical burns, and even long-term organ damage. Proper ventilation and the use of PPE are essential to minimize this risk. Biological hazard occur when workers come into contact with wood that contains mold, fungus, spores, bacteria, or insects like termites. Wood dust can also carry microorganisms that affect the respiratory system. This exposure may lead to allergic reaction, asthma, sinus infection, respiratory illness, and even sinonasal cancer with long-term exposure. Ergonomic hazard happen due to poor working posture or repetitive movement. Workers often lift heavy wooden materials, bend for long periods, or repeat the same tasks such as sanding and drilling. This action can cause back pain, muscle strain, joint injuries, and chronic conditions such as carpal tunnel syndrome. Psychosocial hazard involve mental and emotional stress at the workplace. This hazard may arise from high workloads, long working hours, disorganized environments, and a lack of safety trainings. As a result, workers may experience stress, burnout, low motivation, sleep disturbance, and reduced focus, which can increase the likelihood of accident. Finally, mechanical hazard result from operating machine with moving parts and sharp blades, such as a saw, drills, grinder, and lathes. Workers are at risk of cuts, entanglement, flying objects, machine malfunction, and even amputation. Regular maintenance and proper machine guarding are crucial to ensure working safety.
In the next section, I will explain in more detail what risk assessment is. Risk assessment is the process of evaluating hazard present in the workplace while performing certain activities. Next, once hazard in the workplace have been identified, we move on to the next process, which is determining measures to reduce the risk of similar accidents occurring at work, in order to help the organization protect its assets and ensure workplace safety. Then, likelihood refers to the probability of a hazard occurring in the workplace and the extent to which the hazard is likely to happen. This is determined based on the worker's experience, workplace accidents records, and the frequency of performing work activities. Usually, the officer on duty will ask questions such as how often the situation occurs while you are working, because this question can help them assess the frequency of accidents for that particular activity. This frequency is evaluated using a scale of 1 to 5, which range from very unlikely to very frequent. The following is table of likelihood of an occurrence that I refer to in the guidelines of hazard identifications. Risk Assessment and Risk Control, HIREC 2008. Let's continue to the next section, which is about the severity of hazard. The severity of hazard is used to identify the seriousness of an accident on an individual's health, the environment, or property. Severity is divided into 5 categories. This is determined from minor injuries to accidents that can cause death. In addition, I also presented an example of a risk matrix, table C, that showed 3 colors, which is green, yellow, red. Each color given have its own meaning, namely low, medium, and high. The last thing is the high-risk risk matrix tables. In this section, I have taken several accident lists in the table as example to explain the accident that occurred in the workplace area. For cutting and sewing activities, workers are exposed to flying and falling objects which may cause cuts, amputation, and eye injuries. This hazard has a likelihood of 4 due to frequent machine operation and a severity of 5 because it can result in permanent disability. Therefore, the risk score is 20, which is classified as high risk. To control this risk, machine guard and emergency stop system should be installed. Worker must also provided with face shields, safety goggles and gloves, and regular safety checks and training should be conducted to reduce the likelihood of accidents. Next, during sanding and polishing, workers are exposed to fine wood dust that can lead to respiratory disease such as asthma and lung cancer. The likelihood is rate 4 due to continuous exposure, while the severity is rate 4 as prolonged inhalation can cause serious health effects. This results in a risk score of 16, categorized as high risk. Risk control measures include the use local exhaust ventilation (LEV) to remove airborne dust, providing N95 masks or respirators, and conducting air quality monitoring to ensure a safe working environment. Lastly, in spraying paint and varnish activity, workers may be exposed to chemical vapors that can cause skin irritation, dizziness, dermatitis, and chemical poisoning. The likelihood is assessed as 3, while the severity is 4, resulting in a risk score of 12, which is classified as medium risk. To control this hazard, good ventilation and fume extraction system should be ensured. Workers must be provided with chemical-resistant gloves and aprons, and the use of water-based paint is encouraged where possible to reduce chemical exposure. In conclusion, hazard with high risk levels require immediate and effective control measures to prevent serious workplace injuries and health problems.
Control measure high risk hazard. First, cutting saving. Elimination or substitution. Using automatic cutting machine and tool with built-in safety sensor, it helps reduce direct contact between workers and sharp blades. This lowers the risk of cut and amputation by limiting manual handling. Next is engineering control. Installing blade guide and emergency stop button. Prevent accidental contact with moving blade and allow machine to be stopped quickly during emergency, reducing the severity of injuries. Also, administrative control. It providing proper training ensure workers understand safe operating procedure and correct machine usage. Regular machine maintenance, it helps prevent mechanical failure that could cause accident. So for the PPE, we have to wear safety goggle, cut resistant glove, protective clothing, and safety boot. This is control measure high risk hazard for sanding and polishing. First is elimination or substitution. Choosing safer wood material that produces less dust help reduce the amount of harmful airborne particles released during sanding, lowering the risk of respiratory problem. Next is engineering control. Ensuring proper workshop ventilation help remove wood dust from the air, improving air quality and reducing inhalation exposure. For administrative control, regular cleaning prevent dust from accumulating in the work area, while safety training increase worker awareness of dust hazard and proper sanding practice. So for the PPE, we have to wear Google cover to avoid skin contact. Prolonged working hour for elimination or substitution. Reducing unnecessary overtime help limit working hour fatigue by ensuring employees have enough rest time, which lower stress and the risk of mistake. Engineering control, providing ergonomic workstation, reduce physical strain on the body, while designated rest areas allow workers to relax and recover during break. Administrative control, enforcing set working hour and task rotation help manage workload, prevent overrotation, and reduce both physical and mental fatigue. So for PPE, encouraging comfortable clothing and supportive footwear help minimize the comfort and physical strain during long working hours. Control measure medium risk hazard. Spraying paint and varnish. Elimination or substitution. Using automatic spray system, it reduces the need for manual spraying, which lower workers' direct exposure to harmful paint and varnish chemical. Engineering control. Installing fume extractor and ensuring proper airflow help remove toxic fumes from the work area, reducing the risk of inhalation and improving air quality. Administrative control, protecting workers limit the amount of time each worker is exposed to chemical fumes, helping to prevent long-term health effects. So for PPE, chemical resistant glove protect the hand, Google protect the eyes from splash, and non-slip protective clothing prevent chemical from contacting the skin. Heavy lifting of lock, elimination or substitution. Using forklift or trolleys reduce the need for manual lifting, which help prevent back injuries and muscle strain. General control, providing workstation at ergonomic height, it reduces bending and twisting during lifting, lowering the risk of musculoskeletal injuries. Administrative control, training workers on proper lifting technique and rotating tasks help reduce physical strain and fatigue. PPE, wearing back support belt provide additional support to the lower back during lifting, helping to reduce the risk of injuries. Machine operation, elimination or substitution. Replacing noisy machine with low noise models and using rubber pad help reduce noise and vibration at the source, lowering the risk of hearing damage. Engineering control, installing sound absorbing panel around machine help reduce noise level in the work area. Administrative control, protecting workers limit the time they are exposed to noise while displaying noise level warning sign. It increase awareness of hazardous areas. PPE, providing properly fit earplug or earmuff to protect workers' hearing from excessive noise exposure. Working industry areas, elimination or substitution. Using tread wood that produce less dust help reduce the amount of airborne particles, lowering the risk of respiratory problem. Engineering control, installing dust extractor and air filtration system remove dust from the air, improving air quality in the workplace. Administrative control, enforcing regular cleaning to prevent dust build-up while monitoring workers for respiratory issue to detect health problem early. So for the PPE, wearing coverall help protect the eyes, lung, and skin from the dust exposure, reducing irritation and allergic reaction.
In conclusion, the furniture industry involves essential craftsmanship work but expose workers to various hazards such as chemical exposure, physical injuries, ergonomic strain, and stress. The use of the high-rate method helps identify and manage these risks through appropriate control measures, including safer materials, engineering improvements, administrative practice, and the use of personal protective equipment (PPE). Strengthening safety procedures not only protects workers but also improve morale and support a safer and more productive workplace. To improve workplace safety, strong cooperation between management and workers should be encouraged. Regular inspection and risk assessment must be carried out to identify potential hazards early. Workers should also receive continuous training on machine operation, chemical handling, and proper lifting techniques. Proper ventilation systems need to be installed in sanding, spraying, and painting areas to reduce exposure to harmful substances. In addition, all machines should be maintained regularly to ensure safe operation. The consistent use of personal protective equipment (PPE) such as gloves, respirators, goggles, and ear protection must be enforced. Employers should also ensure fair working hours, sufficient rest breaks, and provide stress management support. Lastly, open communication between workers and supervisors should be promoted to strengthen safety awareness and reporting.